All right, number 10, and this I think is the most important, which is why I saved it for last, because I think it's one of the hardest things about being a reseller. Hey everyone, so today I wanted to quickly give you 10 tips to start up being a reseller and earning money at garage sales and yard sales. You know, these are maybe kind of a beginner for some of you, but if you are just getting started, I think these will really help you out. You can find this information all over in various videos and tidbits and things like that, but I wanted to provide a very simple video that's just straight out says it like it is. 10 easy tips for when you're getting started reselling. And this can apply to reselling on Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, whatever you want to resell on. I think a lot of these are really key and important things to remember. So let's start the list. Okay, so in regards to yard sales and garage sales, arrive early is your number one tip. I can't tell you how many times I have hit the jackpot by being the first one at a garage sale. Right when everyone starts putting out their stuff is the best time to strike. They're excited about their yard sale. They're ready to go. And usually that's where you're going to find the absolute best stuff. There's people like you and me all over the place going to these yard sales trying to earn some money. And they're going to grab the good stuff if you don't. So, you know, examples when I got my Bowflex Select Tech for $20, the 52-pound weights. I mean, they go for $600. Got them for $20 because I got there nice and early. Again and again and again, I make my biggest money by getting there early. When I was at the hunting yard sale, which I have a video of, I get $1,000+ of stuff for $100 just by being the first one there. People started showing up. They saw my pile. I'm sure they were sad. And I can't tell you how many times it's worked the other way, where I've arrived a little late and I've seen someone else with a huge pile that I know they're going to earn a ton of money on. There was one sale just last week where I got there as someone was walking away with a Nintendo Wii full of games, like a box full of games, Nintendo Wii, all this other stuff, and he paid $40. And I know he could have gotten $200-300 for all the stuff that was in that box. So, yeah, number one tip: be early. That's really important. All right, now number 2 is a little bit more obscure, but it kind of covers what I think a lot of people beginning struggle with: is what has value, right? When you get to a yard sale and you start trying to do this, you're looking around and you don't know what has value. And, you know, even I still grab things that end up being worth nothing because I go on my gut and a hunch and I feel like it might be worth something. But in reality, it's hard to know exactly what is worth money unless you do a lot of studying. So my number 2 tip would be look for old items. They're not always worth money, but it's a really good place to start if you're a beginner. You know, there's a lot of newer toys, especially ones like that aren't very good quality, that you want to avoid. And obviously it's not just toys, but in general, electronics, things like that. You know, it's funny. Most people's eyes are drawn to things like iPhones, right? And iPads and Amazon tablets. But a lot of those aren't necessarily worth much money. There's a lot of security on them, and you may have to try to get into them, and maybe they're locked, maybe they have a pin, maybe they're tied to someone's account, maybe the SIM card is locked. You know, there's a bunch of different things that can go wrong with those, and people will just overlook the older items right next to it, like the CD Discman, right? I can't tell you how many times I've seen people walk by a CD Discman and grab an Amazon Fire tablet, and an Amazon Fire tablet's worth almost nothing, but that CD Discman or a Sony Discman might be worth $50 if it's a good one. So, like I said, start off looking for older items. They're not always worth money. They're often not worth money. But if you really feel like you don't know anything about what has value, grab some older items at a yard sale, look them up, see what they're worth, and, you know, if you have to, just take a gamble on one. Take a gamble and just go for it and see what happens. You know, a lot of times you can get these old items for $1 or $2, so it's worth the risk. Even if you can't look it up at that time, you can say, okay, well, this is old. They're asking $1. I feel like it could be worth something because of its age. I'm going to go for it. I think that's really important. You know, just look for some old items and grab them. They might be worth nothing, but every time you buy something and it turns out that it's not worth anything, you've now learned a lesson for next time. So it's almost like you're paying for your education. So it's worth doing. Another cool thing is most items, a very large amount of items, especially toys, have dates on them, right? So if you're looking through action figures and you see all these, action figures from 2017, 2018, 2019, but then you stumble across a Ninja Turtle and it says 1991, that one's probably worth 15, 20 bucks. So look at those dates on the items. That's tip number 2. Let's move on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is educate yourself with eBay sold listings. So if you go into your eBay app, you can go and you can change your filters to sold items. And then you can search by a category and see what's been selling. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll go to a category and I will say, okay, well, what has sold lately in toys, for example, for the most money? And I'll just kind of look through and see what the most expensive toys that are selling, or board games that are selling, or VCR, whatever it is. You can just punch it in. You can type, okay, I want to know what stamps are worth money. And you can type in stamps, go to the sold listing, see what's selling, see how often it's selling, and see how much it's selling for. Study those things, because then when you get to a store, you can say, oh, you know what? I remember I saw this pair of pants is going for $70. Sometimes, you'll see something that most people wouldn't expect to be worth a lot, but because you're watching the eBay sold listings, it's worth a lot. There's several examples during the recent pandemic where things went up in value. Bread makers went way up in value. If you're not studying the sold listings, how are you going to know that? Right? You have to be kind of looking, okay, what small appliances are selling and what are they selling at? Number 4, this is for when you're at a yard sale. Always negotiate. Okay? I don't even follow this rule, although I should, and I always regret not doing it. But they're going to say a price, and when they say the price, you come back with a lower price. There's no harm. They're not going to kick you out, and most likely they'll just say, no, I'm firm. And if it's a good price, you just buy it. But if they come down, your profit margin just increased. I also, this is kind of a side tip with number 4, but let them start, right? Let them name the price first. If they absolutely refuse to do it, you can do it. But I would kind of say lowball them a little if they make you go first. But really, you have the upper hand if you let them start the negotiation, because you might be thinking, and this happened to me recently, I found these 2 fathead wall decals at a yard sale, and I was expecting to pay, $20 a piece, maybe 20 total for the 2, worst case. I let him name the price, and he came back with, yeah, I'll give them both to you for $10, so $5 a piece. I didn't even negotiate because I was kind of blown away by how cheap he was selling them to me for. So that's a big tip, is let them name their price first and always negotiate. Okay, let's move to number 5. Number 5 is kind of a weird one. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone say this before, but it works well for me, or has worked for me. Pick your own house to practice. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, a lot of people have an attic, have a basement, have a garage, have a closet, have a junk drawer full of junk that they never look at and never think about. Go pick that stuff. Grab it, start looking it up on eBay, and just see. You might be shocked what's worth money. I did mine recently, and I do it every now and then just to kind of practice my skill and just see if I've been ignoring things. So, I went back up to the attic. When I was up there, I actually found a creepy crawler machine, which is something my mom had dropped off without me realizing, and it ended up in the attic. But that's a toy I had in the 90s. So I can go ahead and sell that creepy crawler machine that's just been sitting in my attic. But I also learned, hey, if you ever see a creepy crawler machine, grab it, especially if you can get it for $1 or $2. Another example is looking through my video game drawer, and I had a little, but basically it was a guidebook or a manual, essentially, is what I thought it was, for Zelda for the Switch. And it was actually the Explorer's Manual, which came with the original run of that Zelda game for Switch, because I had got a Switch right at the beginning. I got the Zelda game, and it was just like a pack-in. I looked it up, and I was shocked, but it was worth money. It wasn't worth a ton, but it was worth $12. This is a little pamphlet that most people would throw away. I listed it, and it sold the same day for $12, $13 plus shipping. So pick your own house, not only because you'll make a little money, but because you're going to learn about things that have value. I found a little thumb drive that I figured was trash. I sold it for $20, right? All around you is this treasure that you're just ignoring. And by searching it, even if it's not worth anything, you're learning, oh, don't buy those at yard sales. Don't buy phone cases at yard sales or whatever it may be. You're going to learn as you pick your own house some of the things that are worth value and some that are not. Tip number 6, watch others pick as often as possible, whether it be the American Pickers on TV or YouTube channels like this one or any of the other really good YouTube channels out there of people doing yard sales and flipping and picking. Watch that stuff because they might know things you don't. One of my favorites is actually Commonwealth Picker, and he buys a lot of plush stuffed animals. That's something I used to never buy, but ever since I've been watching him, I'm starting to look at them a little bit more thoroughly. Another good example is clothing. I'm terrible with clothing, but I've been watching more and more people flip clothing and pick clothing to help me learn how to do it myself. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into either the Goodwill or the thrift store and said, oh man, there's nothing. There's no video games here. There's no toys here. It's usually what I kind of lean towards when it comes to picking. But there's these whole other sections of the stores. Books, there's videos, there's VHS, there's records, there's antiques. There's all these other categories that you can be learning by watching other pickers and other people do this. So I recommend subscribe to as many people you can that do this. And just watch their content and just learn from their mistakes and from their successes. You'll be amazed at the things that have value if you just study. It's like anything in life. The more you study, the better you're going to get. So if you're serious about making money, reselling, then you've got to do your homework. Okay? All right, next tip, which will be number 7. Look again. So here's one thing that doing YouTube videos has taught me. I miss a ton of stuff. I'll get into my files and I'll start editing my videos and I'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I not see that? I was right next to something worth $100. Again and again and again, I run into this where I picked a yard sale. I thought I was thorough and I go to edit and I realize I missed something awesome. And I think every picker does it, especially on YouTube. I see them always writing little notes. Oh, I should have grabbed that. Oh, I should have gotten this, right? Or you see in the comments, oh, you missed this. And the YouTuber will be like, yeah, I know. I'm so sad. So that's the big key is when you're at a yard sale and you feel like you're done. I've looked at everything. There's nothing here. Just go look again. Just peruse the wholesale again. I'm telling you, a lot of the time you're going to find something that you completely missed the first time. It's really interesting. We're programmed to kind of just look over things, especially yard sales that are messy and just thrown together. We're just programmed to just kind of glance and just not even see what we're looking at. I'm sure you've all seen those tests where they mix up the letters, but just keep the first letter and the last letter in a word the same and people can still read it. Our brains are smart and they say, okay, this is all junk. And so we look over the junk. The key to being a good picker is to see the treasure in the trash. So look again. All right, tip number 8, don't be afraid to ask for items, okay? You'll hear this from every eBay and Amazon reseller. When you go to yard sales, ask. There's so many times, so many examples of me going to a place and saying, oh, well, do you have any of this? And they're like, yeah, I guess I do. I could go bring that out, right? They hadn't brought it out, but you saying, hey, I want some vinyl records, makes them think, oh, I do have some of those. Let me see if I can go find them. Again, back to that example of the fathead vinyls I got. I asked the guy, I said, hey, you've got a garage full of stuff. Can I pick through there? Basically. And he said, no. No, you can't, because people are just, they make a mess. They don't respect my stuff. But I still peeked in. And by peeking in, I said, hey, I see you've got those back on that wall. Can I get those? And so since it was a specific item, he was willing to do it. So look around. Even the stuff that's not for sale might be for sale for the right price. So tip number 9. This one's pretty obvious, pretty simple, but be polite and be kind, right? You are in the other person's property. You're in their driveway or you're in their garage or wherever it is you may be. So you need to try to be respectful and do your best to kind of be friendly, chat with them. Doing this has a couple of benefits. One is just being a good human, but 2, they're also probably going to be more flexible with pricing and just, if they like you and you're kind and they enjoy your company, they might say, I want this trash gone. He wants to buy it. He's a great guy or she's a great gal. I'm going to give her a great price, or him. Okay, so be nice. Simple hint, but important. Oh, and before I actually even go over them, please subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it. I'm trying to make lots of content for you guys and help you become better resellers and really just provide you entertainment. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, comment. Love it. Love to see some comments, get some interaction going. All right, number 10. And this I think is the most important, which is why I saved it for last, because I think it's one of the hardest things about being a reseller. The number 10 tip to being successful when you start as a reseller is to list your item for sale. I cannot tell you the amount of friends and family who have watched the things I do and the money I earn doing this and said, oh, I want to do it. I watch your videos. It's easy. I can do it. Or I'll take them out with me yard selling. Oh, Dave, that's so easy. I want to do that. Well, then they go do it. And then a few weeks later, they send me a picture of a closet or a table or a garage full of junk that they have bought and never listed. And they say, this yard selling thing is dumb. I'm not making any money. And I'll say, well, did you list it? No, I haven't listed it yet. I was thinking about listing it again and again and again. And I also know it's not just the newbie who's starting who struggles. The pros who do it all the time struggle. It's very difficult to post your listings because it's much more fun to go shopping. Going shopping, finding the treasure, that's the fun part of this job. The hard part is shipping and listing and doing all that back end accounting. Anything like that is just lamesville. No one wants to do the work, and so they're not successful. If you want to stand out in the crowd and be successful at this, you need to list your items. Set some rules for myself personally. What I will do is on a Saturday, I will go picking all morning, but then Saturday afternoon, I require myself to list all the items that I picked, or I'm not allowed to go yard sailing on Sunday. I kind of set rules for myself like, hey, you can't go buy more tomorrow if you haven't listed all the stuff you bought today. And so setting boundaries and rules like that for yourself might really help you be successful and hold yourself accountable when you are doing this. So that's my last tip, is to just make sure you list your items. So let's go over them really quick one more time. Number 1, but yeah, let's go over them one more time. Number 1, arrive early. Number 2, look for old items. Number 3, study eBay sold listings. Number 4, always negotiate. Number 5, pick your own house as a practice. Number 6, watch as many YouTube videos as possible so you can see what sort of things people are picking. Number 7, look again. Recheck that yard sale, see if you miss anything. Number 8, don't be afraid to ask for items. Number 9, be kind. And number 10, list. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.